Hey guys, it's Vornskyr here, and today we're back in Elite Dangerous, and we're continuing on the exploration pilgrimage, which means we're leaving the Lagoon Nebula and heading over to the Trifid Nebula. Before we get too much into this, there's just a little bit of housekeeping sort of stuff. The first thing I'll mention is that at the moment, Elite Dangerous is doing, or Frontier Development is doing a stress test sort of thing for the CQC beta or update 1.4, and that means that anybody at all who plays Elite, at least on PC, can log into the launcher, download the beta stress test, and can jump in and play around with the beta. I don't know how long it's going to last for. I'm not even sure how long it is until the beta is going to be released. I think it was supposed to be fairly soon, but I think they've also been having a fair bit of problems with CQC matchmaking and everything, so I don't know. Anyway, so that's one thing. The other thing is, the reason there hasn't been many videos or anything this last week, I've just been really busy. It happens sometimes. And of course, these exploration videos take a lot longer to make than other ones because I've got to fly around for so long doing stuff. But yeah, so that's just that. So the first thing we did was kind of route our way to the Trifid Nebula. I mean, it's not a particularly exciting route or anything like that. It was a fairly short one as well, from Lagoon to Trifid. But one interesting thing I found along the way was these stars that actually had rings around them. Now, I haven't seen that before. At least I don't think I have. Maybe I have and didn't even notice. But yeah, it was pretty cool. It seemed like something different, so I went to check those out. And yeah, they're just brown dwarf stars with rings around them. There were actually two of them in this one system. I only stopped by and had a look at one of them, but it made for some interesting little screenshot opportunities and that sort of thing. It's, like I said, it's one of those little things that I just haven't seen before, so it's always nice seeing something a bit different. I think I've mentioned that before. When you're flying around and all you're seeing is the same M-class stars or whatever, something different is nice. And one thing that I really like as well when you're flying towards these nebulas is that you can just, like, as you jump, you keep doing more and more jumps. You keep seeing it grow larger and larger, and it's a really cool effect sometimes. It's just being able to see your destination right in front of you and actually kind of get an idea of that you're approaching it is a really nice thing. It's something that's really cool about the way Elite works, I guess. So it's, you go from seeing the nebula as just being this tiny little speck in the distance, and suddenly it's this massive object taking up your entire field of view. That's kind of cool. I like as well how you can see other nebulas off in the distance too. But yes, that's pretty nice, and I can't remember what I saw here, which is why I'm just rambling on until I work out what it is. And now I do remember. How could I forget? So what I actually found deep inside the nebula was an Earth-like world. I say I found it. I wasn't the first person to find this. As you can see, it was first discovered by the bear. But yeah, I totally didn't expect to see this. I mean, I just picked a random star and jumped to it, like I basically always do with these things. And yeah, it just turned out to have an Earth-like in it. So it kind of goes to show you can never be entirely sure what you're going to find. This is the second Earth-like that I've seen on my exploration trip. Both of them had been discovered by other people as well. But it's pretty cool to see. As I've said before, they are very rare. So coming across them is pretty nice, even if somebody else has already found it. And of course, it makes for some nice screenshot opportunities. And there's always, the planetary textures and everything are one of the really good-looking parts of this game. So it's nice being able to show it off a little bit, I think. But yeah, so that was the Trifid Nebula, and then after that, I'd chosen to go to the Omega Nebula as well, which wasn't too far away. But as I was looking at that on the map, I noticed this kind of cluster of stars. Most of them appeared to be B-class stars, which are the really white-blue ones. But as I investigated a little bit more, you might notice in the left-hand side of the screen where it says the star types, you can see some of them are neutron stars as well as black holes. So, of course, I had to come by here and check these out. Now, I've heard people talk about neutron fields and that sort of thing, like neutron star fields. I don't know, but I think this might be one of the small ones. And the thing is, a lot of explorers really like neutron stars and black holes because they apparently are very good for increasing your exploration rank. And as you can see, that big field of stars right in front of me in the view screen is just where I'm headed. So these are really bright stars. It's just this whole big field that shines brighter than everything else, which is kind of cool. And yeah, so here we are. There's just a couple of B-class stars right in front of us, and there's also, in this system, there's a single black hole and a neutron star. And one thing you might notice, once we have a look at the system map and after that, but you'll notice at some point there'll be a little white dot floating around the screen, and that's basically a graphics glitch. It's been around for, well, as long as I can remember with this game, but it only appears when you're in a system with a neutron star or a black hole. And as we can see here on the system map, there is the black hole and the neutron star is just above it. And yeah, there's this little glitch thing here. So you can see as I move my head around with TrackIR, it moves around as well. And yeah, so if you somehow manage to be in a system with a black hole or a neutron star and you don't know about it, if you've got that glitch on your screen, that's telling you that you've got that in the system. So yeah, and so this is the neutron star that I'm scanning at the moment. You can see I'm very close to it, 3.71 light seconds away, and you can barely see a dot right in front, and it's taking so long to scan because I'm so far away from it. So I moved a bit closer. I was being really careful with this because I don't know how close you can get to neutron stars without getting in trouble. Once I'd scanned it, I did try to move a bit closer. And so as I move closer, just keep an eye on my heat reading and my speed and my distance from the star, because these are the sort of stars that when you get too close, they can really bite you. And that's why I was being so careful, because you'll notice my heat will just suddenly start spiking. It's like the Diamondback Explorer with my setup, it sits at around 20% heat when you're just cruising around without anything influencing it. And you can see it's on about 21% right now, and I'm moving really slowly, and suddenly the heat just starts spiking, and you can still barely see anything at all of the neutron star, just this little tiny spot. But yeah, my heat went up to 55%, and so that seemed like a good time to get out of there. I mean, neutron stars are absolutely tiny, so it's pretty interesting seeing them. And so this is the black hole that I'm heading towards, and I don't know if you will be able to see it, but you can actually kind of see an effect around it. I guess it's kind of the event horizon effect. The problem is the closer you get to the black star, the less you can see it. So, black hole. The closer you get to it, the less you can see the effect. So, and you can't even really see it at a distance, at least with this one. And I saw some other black holes later on, and you couldn't see anything at all. So, I don't know. It's still kind of cool, but it's a little bit disappointing for me, I guess, that you lose sight of it the closer you get. But there was another really interesting effect with the black hole as well, and that's as you fly around it, it seems to have this kind of warping thing go on. So it's like the black hole is distorting what's behind it, it's a really cool effect. It's kind of weird as well. I think I've got a clip later on where you can get a better idea of that happening. And you can kind of see it here. So as I fly around this black hole, it's just, you can kind of see the stars and everything are acting really weird behind it. And it's just this weird distortion sort of effect. So it's pretty cool. I didn't try flying too close to this black hole or anything like that. I know, I think last time I did that, which was at the very beginning of this trip, I did take a little bit of overheating damage. So, I don't want to make a habit of that. But yeah, black holes, they're cool. They're also kind of weird. And so after I'd found everything in this system, I headed to another system that had a couple of black holes as well as another neutron star. It's there weren't too many of them. I mean, in most of this field of stars, these blue-white stars were just B-class with nothing particularly interesting around them. But there were a few black holes and neutron stars. I didn't go to all of them, I just went to a couple of them. I mean, they've all been discovered previously as well by other people, at least from what I've been able to tell. So I'm not going to get like a bonus or anything for seeing these. But what's interesting about these black holes is that they kind of appear to be orbiting each other. So I don't really know how that works, but yeah, it seems to. And so yeah, as I fly around this first black hole, once you can kind of see the lighting in the background, you get a better idea of that distortion effect as well, once I finish scanning it. And yeah, you can kind of see the distortion a little bit there as it passes through that background galactic lighting or whatever. So yeah, black holes are really weird, but they're still pretty cool. And so after I discovered both of these black holes, it was time to continue on to the Omega Nebula, which was my final destination. I don't think that this system was particularly interesting, really, but it was inside the nebula. And one thing that I noticed with both of these nebulas, the Trifid and the Omega ones, were that you did kind of get the colourful cloud sort of effect and everything, for lack of a better word. And that it seems to be something that you only really notice the further away you get from the star. I think I've mentioned this before, but it seems like the light of the star overpowers all the other lights, like everything else is darker. So until you get away from the star, you're not really going to see much of anything. But once you do make a bit of distance from the star, you start seeing the clouds and all the rest of it. And of course, with this one, you also have the all those really bright stars in the background, so you kind of get the double effect of the colourful nebula clouds as well as all those bright stars kind of shining between the clouds. So romantic. Anyway. But yeah, so I don't know if I'm going to deliberately aim towards nebulas in the future. I mean, all of the ones that I've seen so far have kind of looked the same. I mean, it's one of those things. It's cool the first couple of times you see it, and then it starts becoming a bit sameish, at least for me. But, yeah, who knows. Obviously, not all of them are going to be the same, I suppose. Some of them might have different colours or effects or whatever. Maybe I've just been unlucky, I guess. I don't really know. But yeah, so that's the Omega Nebula, as well as the Trifid Nebula. So that's pretty cool. We didn't make as much ground this video, because I was kind of, for part of it, I was kind of heading the wrong direction as well. And I spent a fair bit of time looking at the black holes and everything in that little detour. But yeah, part of the way I was kind of moving away. Well, I mean, I was still aiming towards the center of the galaxy, but it was kind of at a slight angle, I guess is the best way of putting it. So yeah, we didn't cover as much ground in this episode as I have in previous ones, but it's still good. I mean, I think at the moment I'm about, I want to say around 5,500 light years away from civilized space. So I think in future videos, I'll probably try to start fitting in a lot more into each video. I mean, it does depend on what I find along the way. You know, I didn't intend on, until I found those black holes and everything, I didn't intend on spending much time at all on the trip, so I thought I would have made a bit more distance. But, you know, that's the way it just goes with the exploration in this game sometimes. Sometimes you don't find anything at all, and sometimes you do find stuff, so it's part of what makes it interesting, I think. At least when you're finding stuff, it is. But yeah, so that is a bit more exploration in Elite Dangerous. So I think I will end this one here. So until next time, I've been Vornskyr. Hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.